Good morning. Welcome to JP's Morning Brief for March 24th, 2026. Good morning, everyone. Great day. It's a slow but fast news day. Let's put it like that, okay? But yesterday was really exciting. I do the morning brief in the morning, and then in the morning, really. And then I go out of my studio and listen to Vince and Chad and Graham Allen and Bongino and get prepped for my real podcast, the JPA report. Well, what I didn't realize yesterday was when I raided into Vince, I signed off and I was late going into the living room by about 4 or 5 minutes, and well, something happened, and then I found out about 3 hours later. A buddy of mine called me and said, "Man, did you hear that you were that you got a shout out from Vince yesterday this morning?" I'm like, "What?" And I went back and listened to video on demand, and right when because Vince has this uh, habit, and it's a really good one. It was right before he goes on the air, he says something, right? Like a little blurb, right? Just to get people like, oh, here we go, right? He gave me another another podcast, and he said the Chris something, and then the JP8 report and others, and this is great about Rumble Live, and like, oh my goodness. I recorded it. I played it yesterday, the recording of it in the JPA report. So if you go back to yesterday's JPA report, you will, episode 356, I believe. Yesterday was Monday. um, you'll hear it. It was awesome. It's like, it made my day. Okay, so here we go. Please click that follow button, and you'll get a chance to hear us more often like that. That was cool. Click the follow button if you're not already a follower on the JP8 Report channel, and then click that like button, and then chat with me. I get a few, I don't get a whole lot of live viewers. I guess I choose the time or everything else is going on. But people actually listen to me after on video on demand. But when you're on with me live, you have this privilege of doing, because that's what Rumble does. It gives us the ability to live chat, which is really cool. But I'm required to have a certain number of chatters per month on my channel to maintain my creator status, and I'm still short. I still need some chatters. So if you're in there, uh, give me an American flag or just say hello, which is cool. Give me a proof of life that you're alive, right? All right, so here we go. My America 250 is a two-part letter. And I'm going to do about 3 paragraphs this morning and the rest of it tomorrow, this afternoon. It's a letter from George Washington to John Hancock for the 24th of March, 1776, 250 years ago, right? Sir, when I had the honor to address you on the 19th upon the evacuation of the town of Boston by the Ministerial Army, I fully expected, as their retreat and embarkation were hurried to participate, that before now they would have departed the harbor and been far in their passage to the place of destination. But to my surprise and disappointment, the fleet is still in Nantucket Road. The purpose inducing their stay is altogether unknown, nor can I suggest any satisfactory reason for it. On Wednesday night last, before the whole of the fleet fell down to Nantasket, they demolished the castle and houses belonging to it by burning it down and several fortifications. They left a great number of the cannon, but I have rendered all of them, except a very few, entirely useless by breaking off the trunnions. I don't know what a trunnion is. And those they spiked up, but but may have made, but may, but may be made serviceable again. Some already done. There are several vessels in the docks which were taken by the enemy, with some and others without cargoes, which different persons claim as their property and right, and they be restored to the former owners and making proof of their title, or to belong to the continent as captures made from the enemy. I wish Congress would direct the mode of proceeding against them to establish a rule for decision. They appear to me to be highly unnecessary. Yeah, I like some manner. I like manner. Some man, the English is crazy. I like manner. Some of the cannon, which are in Boston, are said to have come from the castle, supposing them to, with the remaining of the castle, to have been purchased by and provided originally from the expense of this province. Are they now to be considered as belonging to it or to the public? I beg leave to refer to the matter to the opinion of the Congress and pray for the direction. How am I to conduct respecting them? It may have been suggested to me that there were considerable property belonging to persons who had, from the first of the present unhappy contest, manifested by unfriendly and irreverent disposition in the town of Boston. I thought it prudent to write to the Honorable General Court upon the subject, that it might be inquired after and secured. A copy of the letter I herewith send you and submit it to Congress, though whether they will not be determined how it is supposed to be disposed of, and the appropriation of the money arising from the sale of the same. All right, so that's the beginning of the letter, and it does get more thorough. So at the 12 o'clock edition of the JP8 report, I'm going to finish it off. So I'll put that there. All right. Dalmatian, no updates. I did check yesterday. I did tell them I'm losing weight, so they need to hurry up and come back. All right. Any chatters yet? Nope. All right. So Iran update. I just saw something on the news just a minute ago, and I should have wrote it down. It was concerning Iraq. I mean, not Iraq, Iran. All right, so the rest of the update. U.S.-Iranian talks may be held in Islamabad this week, and they did acknowledge that there have been some points passed on to the double A ball team of Iran. Okay, the EU wants to negotiate an end to hostilities. There's always a negotiating end, but in terms of the U.S. and negotiations, it needs to lean heavily in favor of the United States because we took the most risk. All right, and the UN president, she needs to go eat some ice cream or something. All right, because they didn't do anything to rectify this whole situation except for sit on the sidelines and let them get closer and closer to building nuclear weapons. The Israeli Defense Forces capture several operatives in the Hezbollah Radon Elite Operations Unit in Lebanon. And then this is more so than just a rumor because I was just listening to it on the news. Been 2,500 Marines activated for deployment toward the Middle East, along with 2,000 sailors, which means 3 additional ships approximately, and 3,000 from the Division Readiness Brigade from the 82nd Airborne is headed to the Middle East. And that's probably not just for deployment, that's for this is what we can do to you. And so, the appearance thereof sends shockwaves to the governments that they're facing. All right. So just don't think that we're going to just simply insert the 82nd Airborne into a combat operation. It's there as a show of force, like taking an F-35 and doing a 100-foot flyby down the road with insurgents on it, right? You're just instilling the fear of God in them, all right? To keep them from looking for their 72 virgins. Bahrain sent a letter to United Nations concerning Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. is about 9,000 combat strikes over Iran, and they've sunk 150 naval vessels. The IDF, they have hit the IRGC and the Quds Force headquarters in Tehran. And Zelensky from the Ukraine says he has proof that Russia is leaking intel to the Iranians. But when you look at it, would you doubt that they would do that in the first place because they're allies? An ally takes care of the others, unlike our allies that doesn't want to do jack to help us in our endeavors. Our enemy, their allies help each other. All right, so, and then the rest of it is Brent crude right now, I just checked, was it $97.86 at noon yesterday. Brent was at 97.17, so it's roughly about the same right now. West Texas Intermediate is trading right now at $90.52 a barrel. Yesterday it was at 89.40, so it's about the same. And then the stock market closed 631 points up yesterday at $46,208.57. So that is your Iranian update, Operation Epic Fury. We'll see how everything pertains. Maybe I'll get a little bit more of an accurate update for 12 o'clock. All right. So let's see. Onward to the JP8 report. It's 6:42. We're making good progress. My 82nd Airborne mug. Got hot chocolate in there. I don't drink coffee. All right. So this happened last night. Senator Mark Wayne Mullin confirmed that the 9th Homeland Security Secretary capping a sprint to replace embattled outgoing Secretary Kristi Noem. It also caps off a 13-year career in Congress that began in the House and saw Mullin score a seat in the Senate in 2021, where he became the de facto bridge between both chambers, helping to build trust between the House and Senate during last year's push to pass the big, beautiful bill. Ahead of the vote, he arrived flanked by his children, by his family, and was excited to cast his final vote on himself. Mullin, who was picked by President Donald Trump early this month to lead the Department of Homeland Security, was confirmed on a largely party line vote. Senator John Fetterman and Martin Heinrich, both New Jersey and, as you were, New Mexico and Pennsylvania, joined every Republican to clinch the nomination except for Rand Paul. Heinrich said he bucked the party because he has seen that Mullin, who co-chairs the Senate Legislative Branch spending committee with him, is not someone who can simply be bullied into changing their views. I look forward to having a secretary who doesn't take orders from Stephen Miller. No secretary takes orders from Stephen Miller, take them from the president. Senator Rand Paul was the only Republican to vote against Mullin, citing the chilly relationship. in Mullin's past comments that his 2017 assault was justified. Mullin's confrontation was close to a whirlwind month in which Noam was reassigned an explosive pair of hearings on Capitol Hill, as well as the deaths of 2 people in Minneapolis. Okay, nothing else in here really worth talking about right now. Also, the vote was 54 to 45. I searched. I could not find who that 100th vote was. Believe me, I looked. Because if you look down, okay, so 2 votes came from the Democrats, 1 vote came from the Republicans, so that equals 99. And because Heinrich and Fetterman voted for the Republicans, we have 53 seats in the Senate to get us down to 52. And that brings us back up to 54 with the 2 Democrats. It looks like there was a Democrat that didn't vote. All right. And then, like I was saying yesterday, Markwayne Mullin will be the first okay. Thanks a lot, man. Mr. I can't pronounce your name. I had a chatter come in there. I have no idea who he was. But thank y'all. Thank you very much for commenting today. So Mr. Markwayne Mullin is going to be the first person from Oklahoma to be a secretary in the cabinet of the president, regardless of which president it is, right? Also, his swearing-in ceremony is going to be the day at 1:30 p.m., 12:30 Central, which will be in the middle of the JPA report. I might put it on and behind me so we can see it while it's on. We'll see. Hopefully they'll delay it to 1 o'clock so we'll all see it, right? All right. So, and then, so that's going on. Okay, so next. Last night, there was an undercover U.S. police officer ambushed and shot by 2 men still at large in D.C. It was in Southeast over by Anacostia. A veteran U.S. Park police officer was ambushed and shot by a pair of gunmen in D.C. while working undercover Monday evening, and the 2 suspects remain on the lam, according to authorities. The cop, who was not yet identified, was shot about 7:30 p.m. near Queens Stroll Place in Southeast D.C., which is a very bad part of Washington, D.C. And the U.S. Park Police confirmed in a statement the officer was ambushed by at least 2 gunmen while driving a Tesla in the area for an undercover law enforcement investigation. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because Kash Patel got involved. During the gunfire, the officer was struck and continued traveling up the road where first aid was rendered. The officer, who authorities is a veteran of the department, was shot in the upper body. He was taken by police helicopter to a local hospital with non-life-threatening condition. This is an example of unnecessary gun violence in the city. There is no reason for anyone, a police officer, not a police officer, should be shot while driving through the neighborhood. Metropolitan police chief said. Carroll said that there was some indication that the shooters were aware that they were firing at a police officer, despite the fact he was riding in an unmarked vehicle. But the specifics are still under investigation, and no words were exchanged between the victim and the suspects when the gunfire erupted. Investigators are currently searching for 2 suspects. They are described as black men, one wearing white hoodie and blue jeans, and the other was wearing an all-black outfit. praying for the Park police officer shot in Washington, D.C. The FBI is actively supporting the investigation alongside our law enforcement partners to bring those responsible to justice. FBI Director Kash Patel posted on X. The U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi also posted on X that she had spoken with the D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser and Chief Carroll and has been briefed on the shooting. Please pray for the officer's recovery. And then authorities warned locals to expect a heavy police presence in the area surrounding the crime scene. All right, so just a couple of observations on this. I was in a Tesla the other day, and the person that was showing us his car was saying something like the windows are bullet resistant to a certain extent. So I don't know how it happened unless the guy was driving with his windows down, and that might have been the thing. He might have had his windows down, which I guess with the windows up provides some upper level of protection. Maybe not. I don't know. That'd be a good question to ask. Next, I talked about this yesterday. The Supreme Court in a 6-3 decision ruled that a Vermont state police officer is entitled to qualified immunity in a lawsuit brought by a protester who said she was injured when an officer used a wrist lock to remove her from a sit-in at the state capitol. As per curiam opinion and signed, that means is an unassigned decision. The Supreme Court reversed Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals Zorn versus Linden, holding that the pre-existing precedent did not clearly establish that Sergeant Jacob Zorn's specific conduct violated the Constitution. The Second Circuit Court held that Zorn is not entitled to quantified immunity. The ruling read, "We reverse." So it gives additional powers back to the police. This thing happened in 2015 at this person was a healthcare protester inside the capital of Vermont, and she wouldn't leave. And the police said, "You're leaving." And he took her by the arm and took her wrist. You know how you can grab someone's wrist and put in a wrist lock and then bring it to their back, and then you can guide them out, right? That's what happened. I said this yesterday about it. It's a very good decision on the course of the Supreme Court, but I was saying that because yesterday they actually heard. There are pending decisions being made today and tomorrow in the Supreme Court. Also, yesterday I heard arguments in the Supreme Court concerning mail-in ballots. That's why I was bringing it up. It was an active day in the Supreme Court. Man, it's already 6:53. Wow. The Supreme Court on Monday offered sharp ideological differences in considering Mississippi election law that allows for the counting of mail-in ballots received after Election Day. A high-stakes court fight could have significant implications for the November midterm elections and determine the control of the new Congress. The justices heard roughly 2 hours of oral arguments in the case of Watson versus Republican National Committee, centering on a 2024 lawsuit brought against Mississippi's state law that allows for the counting of mail-in ballots received up to 5 days after the election. Wow. So long as they are postmarked by or before Election Day. Mississippi is one of 14 states, as well as the District of Columbia and 3 U.S. territories that currently allow for the counting of late arriving mail-in ballots, so long as the ballots are postmarked by or before Election Day. The High Court's review of the case comes as President Trump's focus on mail-in balloting during his second White House term, and has argued that such laws undermine voter confidence. And he is absolutely correct. How many times you'll watch election returns come in and your candidate has a good, sizable lead going in about 11 o'clock at night, and you're like, why isn't the vote already counted? Well, because they are in a back room opening up envelopes, processing mail-in ballots, because by state laws in a lot of places, you can't even open up those ballots um, until the polls close, right? So, um, and then you'll go to bed and you come back the next morning and your candidate's now losing because they had a whole vast collection of mail-in ballots that had to be counted across their state. And all of a sudden, your guy is losing by 3 percentage points because there was no accountability of those ballots the day before. Not accountability, but accounting, right? So they are the RNC is trying to eliminate that, have them processed on an election day. So if you're going to vote absentee, you need to send that mail-in ballot early. That's what they're saying. So you don't get a protracted 7-day, like Neil Gorsuch, I think he said. So when you celebrate Christmas, do you celebrate Christmas week, or do you celebrate Thanksgiving Day or Thanksgiving week? Or do you celebrate Veterans Day or Veterans Day week? Do you celebrate your birthday or birthday week? So why would we celebrate election day in election week? Election day is meant to be on election day, right? That's what they're getting at, and I understand it, and I agree, right? All right, more to that later. This is a quick one that I will definitely go over this later on. Former Director of Intelligence, Director of National Intelligence, Dennis Blair, once angered then President Barack Obama, Barack Obama, during a White House meeting on Iran. This is why I'm reading this. After he pressed Obama on whether he would tolerate the nation obtaining a nuclear weapon, according to newly released oral history interviews. When it came to my turn to speak, okay, listen to this, people. When it came to my turn to speak at the meeting, Blair said, I said, Mr. President, do you really just have one decision to make? Are you going to tolerate Iran having a nuclear weapon or not? He added that rejecting a nuclear Iran would require espionage and military options, while acceptance would mean a strategy to contain or deter Iran. The exchange, documented in interviews conducted by the University of Virginia's Miller Center and reported by the New York Times, offer a window into internal divisions within the Obama administration. Blair said the moments prompted a sharp warning from Obama. The president took me aside after the meeting and said, Denny, don't ever put me on the spot like that again, he recalled and said, Yes, Mr. President, I certainly won't. And added, I was kept after meeting after that time. And then the president asked him a little bit later about for his resignation. This is the kind of people that we're dealing with. They don't want to hear the true story. They just want to make these rosy stories and trust and no verification. All right. So that's the morning brief. I'm going to get more to it this afternoon. We are out of time. It's already 6:59, and yep. All right. So I'm going to raid over to Vince. Just a second here. All right, so I'll see y'all at 12. I'm reading. Check y'all later.